Thank you all, coaches, captains. Thank you, Kevin Gord, for doing a great job of navigating all these interviews today as well. Our final panel will discuss the important topic of mental health. Sophie Squad is a local nonprofit organization which was founded in 2021 to improve mental health of athletes from youth to college by raising awareness of mental health issues and removing the stigma associated with seeking help. Joining us today from Sophie Squad is Gabby Hughes, former Sophie Squad ambassador at UMD and current ambassador in the PWHL with Team Ottawa, and Sonia Olson, Sophie Squad Director of Medical Advisory. Also joining Gabby and Sonia are Jeremy Lewis, head coach of the Osseo High School girls hockey team and one of his captains. Osseo's first-hand experience of working with Sophie Squad. So gang, the floor is all yours.
You know how we advance the slides?
Do you want it?
You have the power.
Do you want it?
Sure. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that introduction. How many of you have heard of Sophie Squad before? Raise your hands. Fair number. That's great. Love it. So for those of you that don't know, Sophie Squad, we focus on three primary things. So we focus on educating, raising awareness, and trying to remove the stigma associated with seeking help. Sophie Squad is really trying to get the word out there that there's a big mental health problem everywhere, but especially among our athletes. So it's estimated that 1 in 3 student athletes experience symptoms of both anxiety or depression. It's a big number. And we want to try to see what we can do to change that. So I want to introduce, well, I said I don't really need to introduce Gabby. Gabby's a rock star. She's our rock star. But I wanted Gabby to have a chance to share a little bit about her story, because while she's an extremely accomplished athlete, she also has a really good story to tell. So I'm going to let you take it over. You can sit there and come up here.
Okay, I wanted to make sure this mic was working. So like Sonia said, probably when you guys see a professional athlete, your first thought isn't going to be, she's probably struggling with some mental health issues right now. It's probably, you're looking at me thinking, wow, she's got it all. She's living out her dream. She's playing professional hockey. She went to college for a full ride. There's no way she struggles. She's got it all. But during my freshman year of college, I had a really tough year. I was still playing, I was first line, I was accomplishing the goals that I wanted to, but at the end of the day, I would go back to my dorm room and I would just want to be by myself. I had all these pressures I was putting on myself. I had to score, I had to be the person that my teammates could rely on to get the job done every single day. I needed to fit this mold that everybody wanted me to be, and I think that's a lot to handle as a freshman, just moving away from home and your family. So I would just kind of sit in my dorm room and sulk by myself and not reach out to anybody else, because I didn't want my teammates to think less of me. I didn't want to walk in the roommate and have people looking at me, feeling sorry for me. I didn't want them to treat me differently. I didn't want them to think, I can't put her out in overtime, it's too much pressure, she's already got enough on her plate. I didn't want anyone thinking that. But after about a year of really struggling and getting to a point where I knew I had to have a hard conversation, it definitely wasn't easy and a lot of tears were had, but originally just sat down with my roommates. At that point I was a sophomore, and kind of told them how I was feeling, and they encouraged me really to talk to my coaches, to seek help, take those next steps. And I still didn't really want to. I still wanted to think I was a tough athlete, a tough hockey player. I was that tough girl that could handle it on my own. But at the end of the day, I ended up going to my coaches, and they really encouraged me and found me therapists to see and different things to help me cope with the stuff I was going through and really to deal with it head on instead of just putting it on the back burner and letting it just snowball effect. So even though it was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had to have, it's why I'm here today, and it's why I like to share my story and share my vulnerability with you guys, so you guys can have those conversations and you guys can know that it truly is okay to not be okay, and having those hard conversations are what it's going to take, and encouraging people around you that are struggling, or they come with you, encouraging them to have those hard conversations and giving the motivation to them to do that. So that's just a little about how I've struggled, and I just want to encourage you guys to have those conversations and check in on your teammates.
Thanks, Gabby. Two of our big messages are that A, it's okay to not be okay, and B, it's okay to ask for help, right? None of us are without struggle. Every emotion that we have is worthwhile. Good or bad, emotions help us be the person that we are, perform the way we do. So we don't want you to think, oh, Sophie Squad means that you can't have anxiety, or can't have depression, or can't have times in your life when you don't know the answer. We all have that, I guarantee you. So it's when those emotions become more than what you can handle, like Gabby was saying. She got to a point where she had to ask for help, and that's okay. We want you to do that. We want you to feel open to doing that. And that comes also from a culture that you as captains and coaches can help proliferate. So what is it, what's the culture you want? Do you want your freshmen to be able to come up to you and say, I'm struggling? Yes, you do, right? You guys are leaders on the team for a reason. As coaches, what's the culture that you present for your athletes? Do your athletes really feel that they can walk in your door and tell them anything about what's going on? You're both in roles where you have that opportunity, so embrace it. I think more than anything, I want you guys to walk away with knowing that you have that opportunity, and also a responsibility. I want to talk to Jeremy a little bit. So Jeremy Lewis is a coach from ASU, and he had one of our first Sophie Squad programs. So he's here with his captains. Talk a little bit about your experience with the Sophie Squad event.
All right, everyone can read? Perfect. So I was in the kind of the first wave of hosting a Hockey Hits Back event against Blaine. I think it was back in January 2022. It was just important. It was so fun to see both teams come together as one and play for the importance of something bigger than the game, right? Something that we can see from stats. 1 in 3 of your players, coaches, struggle mentally right now. So our big thing was having this Hockey Hits Back. Yes, we're raising funds for a great organization. It also brought our girls together, you know, for one purpose, one cause, and bringing 2 teams together. And it was so fun to see the looks on everyone's faces. And I can't tell you how many parents came up to me after, and grandparents and fans, and saying what a great event this was, and you know, and how I had some players come up to me, you know, basically after this, saying how it got them to think personally about their own mental health, right? Because, you know, it hasn't really been talked a lot, and we didn't really talk about as much as a team before that point. So I kind of in a certain situation where, so back in January 2022, we hosted a Hockey Hits Back event. And little did I know, 9 months later, I was gonna lean on Sophie Squad in a whole different way. We had a player on October 2nd, 2022, who took her own life. And after, I mean, there's nothing, you know, obviously we all can imagine, nothing like getting a call from that parent talking about what happened to their daughter and what happened and so forth. But as a coach, I'm like, okay, I gotta look after these girls, right? I gotta look at them as a whole here. What are my next steps? And so I, you know, after talking, I called my wife right away, called my assistant coaches right away. And the next person I called was Terry Hughes. Just because, sorry, I get a little emotional. Just because he went through it with Sophie and the great organization Sophie Squad is, and the resources they have, how can he help me personally? How can he help me as a coach? And how can he help me as a coach for my team to kind of rally them together and kind of look forward and, you know, bring awareness to this, and basically how can we kind of go, you know, kind of go forward with this and learn from it, and try to make it positive as we can.
Thank you. Were any of you guys part of that event? Yeah. Can you tell me how it made you feel, or what that event meant to you?
I feel like that event was really important because before that, I didn't know that we could talk about this like this, and like sports really brought a knowledge to it. And it was nice to feel that I wasn't like alone, or like my teammates, like I didn't know that they could go through this. And I feel like it's just coming more to life because you wouldn't talk about this a few years ago, but now people can feel more comfortable.
Yeah, no, just the same thing, like being able to talk about it as a team and feeling safe and trusting that our teammates have our backs and we're all going through things together.
Yeah, I think at the time our captains did a good job of checking up on everyone and bringing everyone together, and I think that's something that we should keep bringing forward to our team.
Thanks, guys.
And I'm going to add just a little bit, you know, having great captains as these three girls and my captains before this, going through this whole process, we're thinking about when I first started coaching at Aussie with boys and we switched to the girls, and, you know, everyone's, as coaches, we sit there and think about how valuable ice time is, right? Well, we got to get this in, we got to get the power play, we got to get the penalty kill, we got to get, you know, this in. There's only so much time, we got to squeeze everything in. And it was nice for me to work with my captains to come across and go, hey, you know, coach, I don't think we need practice today. You know, that's tough as a coach, right? But reading your girls and what they need, and how important it is that, you know what, it's okay to skip up practice year round. I don't care if it's before a game, right? And figure out what do they really need at this point, and, you know, have them sit around and talk, and the conversations was much more important than getting ready for Andover's lethal power play, right? So, you know.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. Life is bigger than hockey, that's for sure. Yeah. So for those of you that haven't been to I went the wrong way. Haven't been to a Sophie Squad event, just a couple things. I'll keep it pretty brief. So if you or your team is interested in hosting a Sophie Squad event, there's an email address that'll show up in just a minute. You can send us an email and say, I'd like to host an event for our team. What does that look like? So from a planning standpoint, we'll help you with that. We'll help you organize an event that's right size for you and your team. We provide you lots of different materials, some team building activities. We'll give you some different speakers you can have come out to your program. Really just trying to see how we make it work for you guys. Pre-game, we provide you with a bunch of different things. So we provide you some free educational literature. And by the way, before I forget, if anyone wants a copy of that, we do have some copies here. Just catch us after the program and we'll give some to you. But all of that is provided to you free of charge. And then we provide some other items, all of which are meant to remind you to check on yourself. So a helmet sticker, for example. Hopefully you've seen them on some helmets across the rinks. And the purpose of that is so that every time you put your bucket on, you are reminded to check on yourself and your teammates. When you see a Sophie Squad shirt, when you see that label, that's a reminder. How am I doing? How are my friends doing? So that's why we give those items out. And then on game day, I think, Jeremy, that's your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit older jersey.
So we'll give you some teal tape. You guys can tape your sticks teal. And again, the purpose of that is that's one of the mental health colors. So as you're doing that as a team, you're uniting, right? You're all the same. Both teams can tape their sticks teal. And then we have some different game announcements that we can read during your program so that not just your team, but everyone in attendance knows what that game's all about. And then we encourage everyone to take a picture afterward to just, again, stand together, united. So here's the email address if anyone wants to figure out how to host a program. You guys can scan that little QR code. Hot link it to your phone, however that works. I don't really know, to be honest with you. Monica, you're supposed to tell me how that works. And lastly, we want to just do a little plug here. So we have this great event. It's our 3rd annual fundraiser. It is a 5K run walk. And if you guys go as a team of 10 or more, we'll have the registration cost for you. So if you guys again scan that QR code, it's a great team building activity. Did you want to say anything about that?
No, I think I attended the University of Minnesota Duluth, and for the last 2 years we've done this. My whole entire team has taken a trip down here just to participate in the 5K run walk and to experience the speakers and just be a part of something bigger than the game. And I think it's a great way for your team to really feel that message of it's okay to not be okay and really embracing that together. And it's also really fun. There's some great speakers, and you get an opportunity to get in some good exercise as well on top of it. But overall, it's just a really fun day to experience with your teammates.
Who's speaking this year, Gabby?
I'll also be speaking there as well. Along with Mark Wick and Mark Parrish are going to be some of the other speakers at the event as well.
Yeah, so it's a really fun time. I encourage you guys to think about coming out and joining us. I think that's all we got.
Yeah, just one more plug about for coaches out there. I use it a lot. If you go to sophiesquad.org, there's a resource tab there that there's tons of resources, how to talk to your players, how to talk to your parents, give them literature, how to talk to their athletes and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure all coaches know about that. sophiesquad.org, go to the resource tab, and tons of resources how to talk to your players and parents about this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Well, I hope this was a great day for you all. I'm curious, raise your hand if you learned something new that you think you'll take back to your team this year.